Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? How was breakfast? Lovely coffee, huh? I would like to tell you that for the last 5 hours, Mad2, the hashtag, has been the second most trending thing on Twitter in the world. That's pretty good for us 500 people here, but I guess that's people out there also wanting to be here. So, my name is René Redzepi. Welcome to Copenhagen. Welcome to the second edition of the Mad Symposium. Before we start, I would like to introduce some of the team members, the team members that has basically been working on this to make it happen. And, you're probably, a lot of people ask me how many people we are doing this. And, there were speculations whether it was 10 or 15 even said. And people were up in the 20s. But I can assure you that these two fellas right here, they made this happen on a shoestring. Literally walking around town with their collection hat, and begging from our friends and colleagues. And truly, because of our friends and colleagues, and a few big sponsors, this is the reason why this is happening. So to all of you sitting there who helped this, I really want to thank you so much. It wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for you. Now, here we have Ben, he's our lanky Scotsman. Ben has just graduated from the University of Gastronomical Sciences. Yeah, and he's amazing. Next here we have Ali from Cyprus. So Ali's story is a bit special because he was actually a regular at the restaurant. He had eaten more than 20 times at restaurant Noma. He traveled the world for the next great mouthful constantly. He was a banker, a highly paid banker. That is, until I made him quit his job, move into an apartment full of smelly chefs, and become a lowly paid restaurant worker like the rest of us. Give them a hand, please. You can go up now, chef. Now, for those of you who were here last year, I want to tell you that even though we loved it, and maybe some of you is even missing it, we've canceled the mud bath for this. I don't know. If somebody wants to bathe or get dirty. But instead we made sure that there is, you may or may not have noticed that there's plenty of wild goose shit everywhere. Yeah. So when I first saw all this goose shit, I got super nervous 3 weeks ago. Really, went back to the kitchen and said, hey guys, we have to remove all these turds. I was envisioning cascades of people slipping and sliding in goose shit, having to not pick off mud off their boots, but, goose droppings. And because there was so fucking much of it, I actually dug in and did a bit of research on this goose shit. And surprisingly, there was some very interesting facts, which I'm going to read to you now. Did you know that a wild goose is estimated to produce at least 150 droppings a day? That's a lot of times to shit. And when these are dried, they each weigh approximately 0.7 to 1 gram each. This made me realize there's a person out there actually doing the job, which then made me realize that even geese scientists have stagiaires. I also found out that it's an excellent fertilizer, but the most surprising thing was that goose droppings still contain so much recoverable nutriments that some mammals can meet their dietary needs by eating nothing but goose shit. Which made me very happy because it solved our lunch issues. Yeah. So why are we here? Fertilized by goose guano in a candy-colored circus tent that also happens to be the national colors of Sweden. We tried to make it differently, but we had to suck it in. A journalist cheekingly asked me, isn't this just about you chefs meeting up and talking shit about food critics? And I said, no, that's what we do on all the other 363 days of the year. So we don't need to that. Now, the truth is that we hope this symposium can grow into an annual meeting of mindful chefs that are eager to learn more and understand better this complex profession that we've all chosen to be a part of. We hope that we can be a part of a community of chefs, farmers, food scientists, fishermen, and foragers that are willing to invest so much energy in making our profession better and, above all, more delicious. To actively acknowledge what our hands and fingers appreciate instinctively after years of labor, to explore the hunger that is the source of our inspiration. We need appetite to dare for better, to think bigger. A great quote comes to my mind by a brilliant man that you will actually see momentarily. He writes in his new book, which I read after our service the whole night. I came back to work the day after, unrested, and which is not a good thing. It was an amazing thing, and he writes a book about communities. And he says, you know, I think the meaning of the book is, if you truly want to progress and make yourself happy with the things you do, then work for and with your community. Or said in other words, the more that we work with each other, the more we'll all get better at the things that we do and want to achieve. And this is what we're here for. I started in this profession when I was 15. One of the first jobs I ever did in a kitchen was picking down 20 bunches of chervil, each in small individual leaves, sized out in 5 different sizes. It was really, you know, I thought, holy shit, after 6 hours of that. A year later, I was opening 50 lobsters. In an hour, my hands were tore open. The next year, I was carving out whole animals. And in the last year of my apprenticeship, I would do stocks, make sauces with Banyuls vinegar, clean one lobe of foie gras after the other. By the way, today is the last day of foie gras in California. So I thought that was fitting to put in, and I can tell you that number 3 most trending in the world is foie gras. So I was learning how to cook, and now 20 years later, I'm here on the stage talking to you people, something that I've never been taught to do. And I can tell you, it's really fucking nerve-wracking. It really, really is. But you know, once you feel the support from people, it makes everything so much more easier. And I would imagine that for many of the other speakers, it's the same thing. You know, we're not trained in this. I started when I was 15 in the profession. I basically am a total illiterate, a stupid cook like most of the ones that are out there in the world. So one last thing that I would like to do before I clear the stage is a few years ago I was at a Jewish wedding, and they had this exercise, which was brilliant. And it was the Toastmaster. He had a sign, and each time he sort of stepped up and made this sign, then people just went freakingly mad. You know, they clapped, they stomped, they shouted, they screamed, they jumped until he said stop. And in one moment they stopped. So I would like us to do that. So we warm up, so we really warm up our clapping muscles and our smiling muscles, so that with each speaker we're ready to welcome them and make them feel comfortable. And as hopefully they leave happy, you will also be happy, and then let them leave with a roar. So when I count to 3, can I have everybody just go fucking mental, like mental, as loud, dirty, nasty as you can possibly get until I make the sign like that, and then it stops. Okay? Are you ready? Okay. 1, 2, 3, go!